All right, let's see what our Sunday group thinks. USA Today Washington Bureau Chief Susan Page. You'll remember she moderated the 2020 vice presidential debate. Mary Catherine Ham, Fox News contributor and Outkick columnist, Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams, and Guy Benson, townhall.com political editor, Fox News contributor, and host of The Guy Benson Show. Welcome, everybody. All right, Susan, you have a piece out about this morning. I mean, you were the last person to moderate a debate that Kamala Harris took part in.
That's right. Can you imagine she hasn't debated in 4 years? That might be a little bit of a concern for them that she's rusty. You know, in that debate, she hadn't been universally good in the primary debates in the 2020 cycle, but she was good in the vice presidential debate. She was prepared, and she made especially effective use of a put down of Pence when he interrupted her. This may be one reason they wanted mics to be live. She said, "Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking." And the Mr. Vice President sounded very respectful, and the "I'm speaking" made him risk looking disrespectful if he kept talking over her.
Well, we know how much is at stake. The New York Times today has brand new polling saying this. The national poll of likely voters found Mr. Trump leading Ms. Harris 48 to 47%. The new poll underscores the risks and potential rewards, particularly facing Ms. Harris on Tuesday night when she and Trump face off. I mean, Guy, it couldn't be any closer.
Tight race. Trump now slightly back in the lead, so that big bounce she got in the New York Times poll from the month-long euphoria fueled by the media seems to have dissipated significantly. And Shannon, I think the most significant data point within that poll is a question about, Jim Messina was just talking about the future, the change question. A vast majority of Americans in this poll say they want change. And in this survey, a majority see Donald Trump as an agent of change, and a majority see her as more of the same. That should be Trump's overarching hammered point on Tuesday night.
And we saw at the DNC there was very good messaging casting her as the challenger and him as the incumbent. But it sounds like within this poll, people are starting to have a reality check on that particular issue. Now, they both rolled out economic plans this week. Reuters says this, citing a Goldman Sachs report. Under a Republican sweep, or even with a divided government led by Donald Trump, economic output would take a hit next year, mostly from increased tariffs on imports and tighter immigration policies, according to Goldman. They say he's not the one for your economy.
Yeah, I think the tariffs are something that I personally disagree with and have some policy issues with. I think he needs to point out, look, I have a vision. She has nothing on her website. She's giving you a sprinkling of proposals that have been, frankly, widely panned, including this idea of giving individual homeowners this $25K that would up housing prices and end up hurting people. I think that he can say, look, to the extent that he can connect the reality on the ground of what is happening right now and what people are feeling, people who are not Goldman Sachs, by the way, he can make that point about that division. He wins in the reality on the ground because he says, look what your life was like 4 years ago and look at it now. Compare the two. And I think that's what he has to drill down on.
Well, and that's what this Hill opinion piece this week gets to. It says, if Trump's policies were so terrible, why do so many people think they were better off during his presidency? Why were small business owners and consumers consistently more upbeat than they have been during the Biden-Harris years? I mean, Juan, how does she navigate that reality check that people get every day when they buy groceries?
Well, I think people have a certain nostalgia about the past. Joe Biden's numbers have gone way up since he decided.
Well, now that he's off the ticket.
That's what I'm saying. I think people, but you know, the reality is, if you look at the numbers, the economy is better now than it was then. So you're dealing with this kind of memory sense of things.
Okay, but in what context? Just to give us a framework.
But the context is Goldman Sachs. They're no left-wing organization. They're saying the economy will be better under Kamala Harris.
They're also not mom buying groceries.
And also,
though.
I think. You also look at, I think this week there was 88 top executives who came out and said, we think that the economy will boost under Kamala Harris. And this week, Trump went before the New York Economic Club to give a speech, and it should have been, you know, given the perception that he wants to say the economy was better, it should have been a knockout for him in front of all those rich men. Instead, he delivered word salad on a question about child care. And my sense is, look, the job numbers are good. The stock market is good. And right now, the Federal Reserve is in a position where they're likely to lower interest rates.
Yes, please don't say raise.
I'm sorry, right. Lower interest rates, which will raise, I think, opportunities for Kamala Harris to say, we have a future that's better coming under my administration.
Well, Mary Catherine, you mentioned moms out buying groceries. You're a mom of four. That's certainly the circle that you often run in, is to hear from them about what they think.
Well, and my perspective is if it's hurting us, I know it's hurting other people much, much more. And it's hard to argue that the inflation, although the rate of it is falling, you're not getting back to the 1.9 that we had in January 2016, when Trump was in office, right? And this hurts people. And when you talk about the jobs market, we're adding jobs, but it's mediocre at best, and we're revising down every single month to a cumulative number that's taking a pretty big hit on those numbers.
You know, nothing more frustrating to the Democrats than the fact that they feel that Biden and Harris do not get the credit they really deserve on the economy we have. We see a little bit of brightening of views, but the fact is in the New York Times Siena poll and in the USA Today Suffolk poll, Trump continues to be preferred when it comes to handling the economy. The change question is important. The who do you trust more to handle the economy, that is a crucial, basic question, too.
Prices are up 20% under Biden and Harris. That's why the frustration is there, because the frustration is deserved. Prices are up 20%. People feel that.
I think people know that we went through a coronavirus. This is what you were stressing earlier with the senator, and that things had to be done, and that this economy is the envy of the world. There's no better economy in the entire world after the virus.
And just a quick note here, there are two cases that are out there pending. I just want to make sure, because this race is so tight, RFK Jr. trying to get off the ballots in a number of states, both Michigan and North Carolina, appeals courts there ruled he comes off the ballot. Those have been now appealed to their state Supreme Courts, so we stand by this week to see in these critical states where if his name is off or on that ballot, after he fought so hard to get on, now fighting to get off. Okay, panel, don't go anywhere.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.